Live from Haywood's on the Green in Mill Hall. It is time for the Lock Haven University Coaches Show. I'm Jonathan Schwab. This show presented by the Bear Country Sports Network every Tuesday night from 7 p.m. until 7:30. If you're with us at Haywood's on this Tuesday evening, happy Valentine's Day. If you're listening on the Bear Country Sports Network, we are nearing Lock Haven University women's basketball. LHU at home against Cheney. That comes up in about 45 minutes. And appropriate, since we are nearing Lock Haven University women's basketball, that we would be joined by LHU head women's basketball coach Jen Smith. Coach, been a while, and coming off one of your most adventurous and dramatic games of the year, a 77-70 double overtime win at Millersville. What was it like riding the roller coaster of emotions in that game? You go down 10 the third quarter. You come all the way back to take a fourth quarter lead, go to overtime, need a basket at the end of overtime to send it to double overtime, and then finally you pull away in the double OT.
It was great. It was a lot of fun. I guess it's easier to say that because we came out on the winning end, but, you know, that's why you coach. The X's and O's that we had to kind of put out there in both overtimes, and it's what makes it fun. The kids did a really good job of executing.
Riley Devine, 30 points, the high for your team for any player this year. It also ties the high for any player in the PSAC East this season. All of her points coming after halftime. What got into her?
Hopefully we can go with my halftime motivational speech. I think she just really wanted to do well that day. It was a game that was close to home for her. She's been in and out of the starting lineup, so she stepped up when we needed her, and I think she hit some shots that really gave her a lot of confidence, and she just kind of kept rolling with it.
I mentioned you needed a shot to tie the game. At the end of the first overtime, Lisa Mealing produced it with 1 second even to go. It came out of a set that I've seen you use numerous times over the last 5 years. I would even gamble to bet you were using it before I was around. That stack set with two post players lined up vertically right at the end line, and then the back post player pops out and leaps to catch the inbounds pass. How much comfort for you in that situation, running a set that your players are very familiar with?
I actually had called the alternate play to that originally, and then there was a little bit of a scuffle in the inside between defenders, and in that I decided to make the change. So I was screaming at Lisa to make sure she knew which tap head play we were running, and she switched behind Yonda, and it all worked out. I mean, she made a really, really tough shot on her left side over two defenders.
Lisa played 47 minutes in that game. With all the injuries on your front line, you really don't have any other true post players. How is she holding up through the rigorous minutes?
She's doing really well, actually. She's had a lot of injuries and illnesses over the years, and we've been worried down the stretch if she's really going to be able to maintain these minutes. We try some days at practice to protect her and sit her, but it's really, really tough because you only have 9 bodies anyway. But she's, I think, being really smart off the court, taking care of her body, getting treatment, and we just got to kind of keep our fingers crossed that she can finish the season strong.
For you, your third win over the coach you played for, Mary Flagg at Millersville. What are the emotions for you anytime you're able to beat your mentor?
The first time when it happened was amazing. Now it's just kind of business. It's always nice to go there and, to be able to pull out a win. It made it a little extra special. On Saturday, I had 5 teammates there that I haven't seen since I graduated, and I didn't even know they were there until after the game. So that was kind of nice to be able to get that win with them there.
Were they mad at you for making them wait to see you in 10 extra basketball minutes?
I think they enjoyed the excitement of the game.
Joined by Lock Haven University head women's basketball coach Jen Smith on the LHU Coaches Show from Haywood's on the Green in Mill Hall. For Riley's efforts, Riley Devine named the PSAC East Freshman of the Week. Twice now, an LHU freshman has been named Freshman of the Week. Way back in November, seems like a long time ago now, Maimuna Kenna won the award. For you and for your assistant, Zach Smith, what does that mean to you guys as a coaching staff when you're able to recruit and go out and find kids who can make an immediate impact like that.
It's very satisfying. It makes you feel like you're doing a good job out there on the recruiting trails. And Mumuna got one really, really early, and I'm confident she would have picked up a few more this year if she wasn't out with an injury. So hopefully we get her back this weekend, and it'd be nice to see her and Riley maybe dominate the rest of the season with that award.
And then maybe the next 3 years, whatever.
Yeah, I'll take that too.
But this has been a freshman class that, because of the injuries, you had to ask a lot of them. We've talked about Riley Devine, and we've talked about Maimouna Kenna. Becca Riley started for long stretches, had a career high 11 on Saturday. Allie Hilson has shown flashes. I think of the 6 big points she scored in the win at Georgian Court back in December. How has this class handle the additional responsibility that freshman classes aren't usually asked to bear?
Yeah, they've had a lot of opportunity to get on the court this year that freshmen don't always necessarily see. They've just kind of been trying to learn on the go, trying to stay focused, trying to make the most of the opportunities. I think sometimes the biggest thing is they're going to make mistakes. They're freshmen, and they got to be able to move forward from that. So they've done a really good job. We tell them all the time they're not freshmen anymore. After we lost Jalen for the season, it was okay. There's no freshmen on this team. Everybody's got to kind of step up and do their part.
I was going to ask you, and you just led me there.
I'm that good.
You're solid. How different of a coaching experience has this year been?
It's been very different. We went into this season knowing we lost some major players from last year, but feeling really good with what we had. We were young, but we were experienced, and it started off, you lost a senior in Sydney in a scrimmage, and then you lost Mackenzie in, I think, the third, fourth game of the season, and then it was Maimouna, and then you try to keep rolling, and then when you lose Jalen, it was tough. It's been tough for the girls, too. You can't really get into rotations, a substitution pattern. Roles were really difficult. We moved Ayanda to a guard this year. She was doing excellent. She picked up a player of the week early in the year. And then after we lose Maimouna and Jalen, she has to move back to a forward position. And, I think that was tough on her. And so she's had to try to adjust with that. So it's not an easy thing to keep losing kids to season-ending injuries. And you got to kind of recreate your team each time that happens.
We talk a lot about the 9 kids that are playing, but you mentioned those 4 kids who are not. I know in talking with Jalen off the court how hard this has been on her. I would think the same's true for the other 3 as well. What has that been like for them, being able to watch and support their team, but not being able to be out on the floor?
I think it's tough. Winter break was really tough because we didn't have them all here. A lot of them were home getting their surgeries done. So it was really nice when we got everybody back because they are such a huge part of this team, and they're loud on the bench and encouraging. And, it's kind of nice at practice when they're off on the side doing their rehab and you can see them doing it. And I think it makes them feel better because they're on the road to recovery. And it's been tough. And, Jalen went and had surgery today. So she's the last one to get that done. And so they're all on the road back. And that's what we just got to keep telling them. It's a long road. But, if you focus and you work really hard, you can get back, you can get playing and be successful in the court again.
And no question, they're operating with the right mindset. I stopped at practice on Monday and saw Mackenzie Livingston, and she smiled and said, Friday is walking day.
Step at a time.
Well, as of Friday.
Yeah.
Joined by Lock Haven University head women's basketball coach Jen Smith on the LHU Coaches Show. That win at Millersville bringing you back into the playoff picture. Still a couple games out from Kutztown, from Millersville. But how do you look at where you are in the playoff race with 3 straight home games to come?
That win gave us life again. It really did. We needed it. We had been playing a little bit better the 2 games previous to that, just weren't able to pull out wins. So it was much needed. We're very upfront with our team as far as what they need to do to get into playoffs. We've been keeping a running list of the standings in the locker room and what we have left, so they see every day when they go out to practice, who they're chasing, what they need to get done. So, it's great that we have 3 games at home. It's, definitely a little bit harder to win on the road. So, that's a plus, but they're not going to be easy wins. 2 of the teams we've lost to previously this year. So we have a lot of work ahead of us, but, we fight every day, and we'll see what happens.
Let's talk about those 2 opponents you're looking for a little bit of payback against. Cheney, Wednesday night, and for those of you listening on the Bear Country Sports Network, that game about 35 minutes away from tip. And then Westchester on Saturday. What should fans expect?
I think you're going to see two really different games. They're two different teams. We owe Cheney. If we would have picked up that win down there, we'd be sitting in a much better place right now. So, we really want to come out and make a statement that we're a better team than them. They're athletic. They're going to push the tempo. They're playing a ton of kids. I mean, they're going to go, 9, 10 deep, playing, a lot of minutes with all of them. We didn't do a really good job on the boards last time either, so there's a lot of little different categories that we need to clean up, and we want to keep the game as low scoring as possible. That's when we're successful is, if we can get a 58-50 game and be the one with 58 points, we're going to be really happy.
And then Westchester?
We played well down there. We really did, and that's one of the hardest gyms to play in the conference, I think. It's kind of just putting it together with them. They're going to show a couple different presses, so we didn't make sure we don't turn over the ball. I think we gave up like 11 offensive rebounds down there in the first 8 minutes of the game, maybe less, so that kind of dug us a hole. But we've done a lot better job on the board since that, so maybe we needed to suffer that to kind of get it, to see the importance of it. So a lot of payback this week.
Also, a couple off-court events this weekend with your annual alumni event and senior day coming up. What should fans know about each of those coming up?
We have 4 kids that are going to be recognized at senior day. We're hoping, some of them might come back next year still, but they're choosing to participate in that. So that's going to be a great day. It's always good to say thank you to our seniors who've given so much to our program. And it looks like we're going to have a lot of alumni back. I've been getting a lot of feedback this week. I'm really excited to get them back on campus, and it seems like they're going to be really representing a lot of different classes of graduates over the program's history here.
Our one for fun.
Okay.
With Jen Smith. I know you're excited about this part. Watching Riley Devine, I've seen J.J. Hilliard do it in games during her career. J.J.'s here at the show tonight at Haywood's. Can you think of a game during your college career at Millersville where you just went off and you made everything?
We were at IUP, which is one of our biggest rivals. I mean, they were always...
So I think the answer is yes.
Yes. I actually had 30 points. Same as Riley. I was 7 for 10 from three-point line.
Well, she didn't do that.
No, but...
What do you remember about that game?
I just threw the ball up at the rim and it went in. But we lost, so it was, sour still because... it was all about winning. That's all that mattered to me. But it's always fun when you can do something like that, especially against one of your biggest rivals.
And quite honestly, who likes IUP, right?
Yeah, no one.
Lock Haven University head women's basketball coach Jen Smith. Games this week, 5:30 at home against Cheney, 2 p.m. against Westchester. Thank you so much for the time, and good luck this week and the rest of the season.
Thank you very much.
When we come back on the Lock Haven University Coaches Show, we will have Lock Haven University wrestling student assistant Austin Miller. This is the Lock Haven University Coaches Show, presented by the Bear Country Sports Network. Welcome back to Haywood's on the Green in Mill Hall. This is the Lock Haven University Coaches Show, presented by the Bear Country Sports Network. If you're here on Tuesday night, happy Valentine's Day. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jonathan Schwab. If you're listening on the Bear Country Sports Network, LHU women's basketball coming up next as they host Cheney. I'm joined right now for the first time by Lock Haven University wrestling student assistant Austin Miller. Austin, Scott Moore couldn't make it tonight, so you're the pinch hitter. So, all right, pressure's on. You're ready to go. Why don't you tell folks about how you got connected with Coach Moore and the LHU wrestling program?
Right. So I wrestled for 2 years at Bucknell University and 2 years at Oklahoma State University. I grew up wrestling with Bobby Ream and Dan Neff. They're two of my best friends since I was a little kid. So I really wanted to looking into getting back into Pennsylvania because this is where I'm from. It didn't really make sense for me to stay in Oklahoma if I wasn't wrestling, just paying more for tuition. So I came back here, contacted Coach Moore, and came to Lock Haven.
So right now, you guys, about a month between competition, going back to the Matttown 2, the previous Sunday, all the way to EWLs at Bloomsburg on March 4th. What came out recently, the latest RPI and coaches panel rankings, and boy, Lock Haven looks good. Let's just roll through these, and then we'll talk a little bit about them. At 133, DJ Fellman, number 27 in the RPI. These are all RPI. Ronnie Perry, 22 at 141. Kyle Shoup, number 23 at 149. Adam Mackey, number 33 at 174. Corey Hazel, number 33 at 184. Tristan Sponsauer, number 24 at 197. And Thomas Haynes, number 15 at 285. As a coaching staff, what was your reaction seeing those?
I don't think we were too surprised. The RPI is basically like a strength of schedule ranking for the most part. There's a couple other factors that go into that, like bonus point percentage. But, we travel around, we go, and we seek out the best competition. We wrestle a lot of matches during the season, so we weren't surprised to see a lot of our guys get in the strength schedule ranking. That's why we go out and find the best competition, is so that we set ourselves up for the best position possible at the end of the year.
What I find interesting, DJ Fellman basically has been a 2017 only wrestler at 133. Adam Mackey didn't take over the starting spot 174 until late in the year. Ronnie Perry missed about a month due to injury. How does that factor in as far as how the full body of work is considered for guys?
Adam Mackey, as far as he goes, he wrestled, DJ Fellman as well. Those guys wrestled before, they really made it into the lineup. They were still going out to open tournaments, and that's why, we send our second string and third string guys into open tournaments at the beginning of the year, because if they get the chance to step into the lineup, then they've got to have the matches necessary to get in rankings, and we expect that from them if they do step into the lineup. Ronnie did miss a good chunk of the year from injury, but he's had probably, I want to say, 6 or 7 ranked matches and a ranked win here and there. So not surprising at all to see him in the RPI. He's a great wrestler. We've known that for over a year now.
When you look at the coaches panel, DJ Fellman, Ronnie Perry, Corey Hazel, Tristan Sponsauer, Thomas Haynes, all a part of that. Now for the coaches panel, that's the second look you guys have gotten at those. What was your reaction as a group seeing where your guys are situated there?
Again, I think it didn't really come as a surprise to us. Good thing to see was definitely Fellman getting in there after he had that big win over Mark Gray from Cornell, who's a top 20 guy in the country. He got that win after the first coaches panel ranking between the first and second, so it was good to see him get in there. But I believe the other guys were in there in the first coaches panel ranking as well, so it was good to see them hold their spots. I don't think anybody moved backwards, at least.
When you look at these rankings, there's still 3 weeks to go. A lot of teams are still wrestling. You guys have the EWLs coming up. How much stock do you put into them at this juncture?
They're definitely important. A lot of the teams that are still competing are pretty much a lot of the teams that are still competing are wrestling in the NWCA Bowl Series, which is, basically the top 20 teams in the country are wrestling in those. So guys from those teams, they're probably already in those RPI and coaches panel. And if they're not, they're probably not going to get in it just from 1 or 2 more matches. But most teams are pretty much done with their competition schedule, and they're taking a break here before conference tournaments first weekend in March.
Joined by Austin Miller, Waukegan University Wrestling Student Assistant on the LHU Coaches Show, live from Haywood's on the Green in Mill Hall. Austin, I want to talk a little bit about Kyle Shoup, last week's EWL Freshman of the Week, and he just adds to a long list of honorees for your program this year. And so many of these guys are freshmen and sophomores. How encouraging is it to see the diverse group of guys who have received recognition this year?
Yeah, it's really encouraging, and I think it definitely speaks to that and the RPI and coaches panel rankings. I think they definitely speak to how well-rounded our team is and how from top to bottom we really put in the work and put in the effort in the off-season and during the season. Our whole team goes to work every day when we step in the room and when we step in the weight room, and I think it just really signifies how bought in the whole team really is and how well-rounded we are.
Idle week in the schedule, number 2 of 4 as we speak right now. In week 2, as you guys prepare for EWLs, what's the focus in practice?
We're definitely focused on, during the season, from your weight cutting and from all the competition schedules, a lot of guys will kind of lose strength. So right now a big focus for us is definitely getting in the weight room, getting our strength at least back up to where it was before the season starts. In the wrestling room, our focus is improving on areas of lesser strength. So any skill development that we need to do individually with our starting 10 guys, and just wrestling live, getting after it. We're working really hard right now just because we have so much idle time that we are really getting a good chance to train hard on a daily basis and just get better as we were back in the preseason. During the season, a lot of times you miss practices, or not miss practices, but you miss the intense training because you've got to prepare for competition and make weight every single week.
Our one for fun for Austin Miller. When you pinch hit, this is part of the game. So
Okay.
what is your ideal thermostat setting at home?
I think if I set my thermostat, I think my ideal setting would be between 67 and 70. But I'm kind of lucky. I live in an apartment above the bank downtown, and their heat seems to come up through our floorboards, so they heat our house.
So that is one way as a young adult to save a few dollars.
Yeah, this especially right when you come out of college, coaching is definitely a career of passion. You have to really be into it. You can't be in it for the money. So I live on a budget, and it's a good way to save money.
Lock Haven University student assistant, LHU wrestling student assistant Austin Miller. Thank you for coming on the show. We appreciate it, and continue best of luck as you guys keep working towards the Eastern Wrestling League Championship Tournament.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for wishing us luck.
When we come back on the LHU Coaches Show, we will have a special guest, Lock Haven University Sports Information Graduate Assistant Matt Gio. This is the Lock Haven University Coaches Show, presented by the Bear Country Sports Network. Welcome back to the Lock Haven University Coaches Show, presented by the Bear Country Sports Network. We are live from Haywood's on the Green in Mill Hall on this Tuesday night. If you're with us on Tuesday night, thank you so much for coming out. If you're listening on the Bear Country Sports Network, we are, about 20 minutes away from Lock Haven University women's basketball as the Bald Eagles try to make mincemeat of the Lady Wolves of Cheney. Jonathan Schwab joined right now for the first time, two first-time guests tonight. It really is Valentine's Day. I'm feeling the love. Sitting next to me is Lock Haven University Sports Information Graduate Assistant Matt Gio. And also, Matt, we should also mention that back in your day, not that long ago, you were a standout for Lock Haven University cross country and track and field. Thank you for coming on. What's the experience been like so far as a graduate assistant in the Sports Information Office?
First of all, thank you very much for having me on here.
Oh, it's nothing. It's nothing, Maddie.
Sports Information Grad Assistant has been a lot of fun. First of all, I get to watch sports, get to go to all the home sporting events, hopefully get to travel to some of the away events as well, and you get firsthand experience of seeing games live. I'm a big sports fan, as I know you are too. So first of all, that's a lot of fun. Second, it's just nice getting to know the coaches as well. Since I've been a student athlete here, I've seen them around the offices, but now to have more of a connection with them and know them more person to person, it's a lot of fun.
What are the events over the last 6 months that stand out in your mind as wow moments covering LHU athletics?
I think it all started, I think it was volleyball against Ashland. First game, Sydney Belcastro broke the school record in digs. So that was pretty cool to start the year off.
Such a sports information answer.
Yes. Besides that, seeing football just do really well this year. Numerous All-Americans, seeing the program rise. That's awesome to see firsthand. As well as cross country, All-American, Addison Monroe. I wasn't there for the race, but obviously covering it. It's good to see his hard work pay off.
And I'll tell you, as you get to travel, you do see more and more. And do you have more of an appreciation now for what these student athletes go through now that you're on the other side of the tunnel?
Oh, yeah. It's nice having both sides, seeing both perspectives, seeing how difficult Doug Spatafor's job really has been in Jeff Ross. It's his second year.
They'll appreciate that you said that.
Yes. And it's nice, though, to be able to know how hard the student athletes are working and reward them with trying to go more in depth with the stories, just really rewarding their efforts on and off the court, field, wherever they play.
Maddie, I gave Jeff Ross the opportunity before Thanksgiving to come on the show.
Yeah.
Today is Valentine's Day for the folks who will hear it on Wednesday or see it on golhhu.com later in the week. It'll be a little bit past Valentine's Day, but that's all right. You're a long way from home, native of Maine.
Yep.
Anybody you would like to wish a happy Valentine's Day to?
Of course, my mother. I called her up today, wished her happy Valentine's Day. They just got close to 3 feet of snow yesterday, so she's not happy. And then tomorrow night, they're expecting another foot of snow. So she might even come down here soon. Might get a late Valentine's gift.
Well, I'd like to take the opportunity to wish my mother, my grandmother, and my little sister a happy Valentine's Day. Mom, Grandma, you guys are in Florida. I wish I was there with you. Robin, you're in Boston under all that snow Maddie was just talking about. You're on your own. Happy Valentine's Day to all of you. And Matt Gio, sports information graduate assistant, thank you so much for coming on, and we'll see you at the next basketball game.
Of course.
That'll do it for this week's edition of the Lock Haven University Coaches Show. Thanks to all the coaches as well as Matt for coming on and joining us tonight. If you've been with us at Haywards on the Green on this Tuesday evening, thank you so much. If you're listening on the Bear Country Sports Network, coming up next, Lock Haven University basketball, a doubleheader, women followed by the men as Lock Haven hosts Cheney. Once again, for our entire Bear Country Sports Network crew, I'm Jonathan Schwab, and this has been the Lock Haven University Coaches Show, presented by the Bear Country Sports Network.